Why do we put flowers at people's graves? They're obviously a sign of love. It's interesting, the custom of the Jewish people is to place stones at the grave. The stone doesn't disappear as fast as a flower. There's a famous grave in Jerusalem in the Christian cemetery, and it's always covered with stones. It's for Oskar Schindler. And sometimes they take them all away, and then people keep coming back and putting stones again on top of the burial spot because of the good memory people have of his deeds to save lives. Over 1,200 Jewish people during the Second World War. And he wanted to be buried in Jerusalem, and he was buried there in the Christian cemetery because he was actually a Catholic. But I just saw the flowers again there as I came out from my room. And what's in my mind is the psalm today, Psalm 27. And Psalm 27 is a very special psalm. I'd really need to speak to some expert about it to see, or do a little research on it, about the psalm, its history and its significance. But the line that is our verse today, the responsorial, is, I believe I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And again, I'm into a theme now that I need to research a bit more, but I had a conversation with a guide very recently. I think it might have even been yesterday, or it could be the day before. And I'm not sure how we got to talk about this, but it turns out that he explained to me that he used the word the land of the living. And I looked at him. I said, the land of the living? And he said, yes. He even said it in Hebrew, Eretz Haim. And then he said to me this was the word for graveyard. And I was impressed because, well, I don't know, I probably have some misconceptions. We're always growing, learning more and more. We definitely have the story of the prophet Samuel, who had actually died, and King Saul is in terrible straits in his military lineup with the Philistines at Mount Gilboa, and at night time he goes in disguise to visit a necromancer, a lady who had the capacity to speak with the dead. And so when he requested her to do so, she absolutely rejected the idea, saying, Saul has put out, the same king, has put out an edict that anybody who tries to do this will die, will be killed. And I won't go into all the conversation now, but he's still in disguise, and he says, don't worry, I got your back, ma'am. And then when Saul comes up, he says, do not disturb me. Why do you disturb me in my rest? And there's also another passage in the Gospels where the Sadducees are trying to say that there's no resurrection of the dead. And Jesus' answer to them at the very end, I won't go into all that story either, is God is God of the living and not of the dead, and he's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's the God of the living and not of the dead. So Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are alive. They're alive to God. So this is a great. We're always learning about each other, you know. But to learn that the Jewish faith has that in it, and that's the word that's used today, because I was under a misconception that there was very little perspective in the Jewish mind when those who die, and they say, may the person be of blessed memory. To say that may a person be of blessed memory, you know, we all have memories of people, and some people, there are bad memories because they did great evil and hurt a lot of people. And to say may a person be of blessed memory is very interesting. You know, it's a great wish when somebody dies, as a consolation that this person left a wonderful trail behind them, a trail of goodness, like Oskar Schindler, just to give that case, you know. So then that's in lieu of the faith in the resurrection, but actually it doesn't have to be. May they be of blessed memory is not in competition with the fact of living on. In fact, it goes hand in hand with it. May they be of blessed memory. May the people be of blessed memory, the deceased. But then the concept of the land of the living, then we had this conversation the other day, and I was surprised I hadn't woken up to that. My Hebrew isn't that great. And then I said, well, there's another word for the cemetery, Beit Almin. And actually, this means the house of the youth. And Beit Chaim, the house of the living. So this is, I find this interesting. And because the psalm today deals with this as well, and it's fresh on my mind, I thought we'd have to deal with this, you know. I believe that I shall see the good things of the Lord in the land of the living. One of the subjects of theology, which is done systematically, is eschatology, which is the word for the things at the end of time. And eschatology deals with death and eternal life and the reward and punishment. And we have many parables of Jesus addressing that. And it also deals then with, obviously, with eternal life, with heaven. So a theologian in New York by the name of Father John O'Connor, Monsignor John O'Connor, wrote a book on that subject, and his title was The Land of the Living, to deal with all of the teaching in that area, the teaching that, the Christian teaching on that subject. So I'm going out here in the water a little bit, just checking out something for somebody that wanted to get into the water away from where the boats are. So that's why I'm out here in the middle of the water. Somebody asked me about this possibility yesterday. It's also somewhat muddy here. Now as the water goes down, it's not easy to find spots that have solid footing under them that are accessible. I believe that I shall see the good things of the Lord in the land of the living. It's for the future that I shall see, that I will see. To dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. Be stout-hearted and wait for the Lord. And just to make a quick comment about the readings, the gospel passage has Jesus going to Capernaum, and here we have Mount Arbel, But over there, it's kind of blocked now in that spot for this little conversation. But right in that direction here, behind Mount Arbel, you can see some of there behind that tree. You can see there's a path called Wadi Hamama Valley. And today's gospel has Jesus coming from Nazareth to Capernaum. And Capernaum is right over here. If you see that little barge thing out there in the water, it's right over there behind that on the other side of the Sea of Galilee, the north end of it. And beside the Mount of Beatitudes is right there in the center of the screen. So Jesus, now in Luke's Gospel, is beginning his public life in Capernaum. And here we are inside the Sea of Galilee in the water. Just so you can hear it as well and not just see it. I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I like that line very much. And the first reading is all about the theme, actually, of how the issues of our death and resurrection unfold. And Paul is concluding the reading with "Take courage, encourage one another," which is a big theme here in Magdala at Duquin Altum. Duquin Altum, go out into the deep. That could also be said for eternal life when it's our time. Take courage. Take courage. Let's leave it like that for today. I hadn't planned it like that, but that's the way things turn, the way they turn. See you later, alligators. God bless you.